How you guys doing? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at the Moonstarter Launchpad. Now it's a launchpad that has a lot of potential and I'm personally very bullish on it. I'm just gonna pop your bubble. Already put it out there right away. Okay, I'm going to be a biased opinion here. I'm quite bullish on it. I think there's a lot of good investment opportunities here. So if you're interested in learning more about Moonstarter, learning about how to get started, what these bullish opportunities really are, and much more, just everything about the project, then tag along with me as I'm going to cover the entire project in its entirety. Alright you guys, thank you so much for joining me again today. We're going to jump right into it, no point in wasting time. Before we do, however, please make sure to like and subscribe. It actually really helps the channel out. So if you've done that, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. And without further ado, let's just jump right into it, okay? Also, I'm not a financial advisor, so perform your own due diligence. I don't want you guys to just blindly follow me, alright? So do your own due diligence, do your own research. Alright, let's get started. So Moonstarter is a cross-chain decentralized launchpad. Now, what does that mean? Of course, it means that you can participate in projects, in launches from all types of chains. We see here Polkadot, Solana, Cardano, Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, Avalanche, Solana, etc. So that is my first green flag, right? That is something I am looking for when I look for investment opportunities. Now, why is that? Again, for me personally, it is because I don't want to confine myself to just one chain. There's so much opportunities out there and the space is constantly changing, and it is just needed to be able to quickly move around and launch something else if another chain is not doing so hot. So confining myself to just Cardano, what if Cardano isn't doing so well, right? So cross-chain, that is definitely a big plus for me. Anyways, that is the quick introduction to Moonstarter. We're going to move over to the tiers now. That is the most important thing. That is what I'm most excited for. After that, we're going to dissect everything else. Use the timestamps below if you are interested. For now though, over here we can see app. We should be able to click on it and then we will be going to the app. It takes a little bit. All right, there we go. So this is the Moonstarter app. From here we can do basically everything. Oh, actually, this is not what the tiers are. So we're just going to scroll down. There we go. So here's the lunar tier system. We see here that we have 4 tiers in total. Callisto, Elera, Himalaya, and Kalaiki. We have this lunar theme, but it is not very much called Mars or Jupiter. So they are a little bit creative here. Anyways, what we can see here is that the allocations are very, very cheap compared to Seedify, DAOmaker, and the bigger launchpad. So you can get your allocation for very cheap and start participating. For instance, the first tier is 10,000 MNST, which is the token of this launchpad. But as you can see over here, the token is only worth 0.007, meaning that if we put that into a calculator, we can see that for 10,000 I mean, you're only paying $70 US. Now compare that to a bigger launchpad such as a Seedify or DAOmaker. We can see that you are definitely paying, well, comparatively, absolutely nothing. So it's a very cheap launchpad with very cheap allocations, which is very good if you are, for instance, a beginning investor or you just have less money to invest in. You're looking for those smaller allocations, smaller risk, smaller reward type of launchpad. However, they also do have bigger tiers, of course. We see here 250,000 staked for the biggest allocation. If we move over here, we can type in basically the same equation, but then with 250K. And we see here that you're paying 1,750 for the most expensive tier. So they do have a wider range for very small investors to much bigger investors. Now, what all of this has just been reading out loud, right? You guys could have seen this yourself. But what you probably haven't read before is that you will be able to invest more than the highest tier and increase your allocation. Now, how does that work? Quite simple. Every 10,000 MNST that you stake additional to the highest tier will give you another ticket. Now, as you can see, Kalaiki gives 37 tickets, so you'll get 38 tickets if you have 260,000 staked. Now, what exactly are these tickets? These will determine the size of your allocation. Okay, now why do they have this ticket system? We'll read up more about it in the Litepaper, but that's just how they do it. The more tickets you have, the larger your allocation will be. So there's that. Then over here, we're going to look at the roadmap. I want to tell you guys to stay very much tuned. We're first going to look at the roadmap. After that, we're going to move over to the projects. That is where I have some big news for you guys, some big opportunities that I found that I want to share with you guys, okay? So before we do that, we're going to look at the roadmap, see what the team is working on and what they've done so far. After that, we're going to move over to the project and then the Litepaper. Okay, and then of course also how to stake and get started, right? Of course. So our roadmap, we see here phase 1. Worth pointing out that they did not specify what time the phase 1 was. We don't know whether this was in Q1 2021 or whether this is already 2022, 2023. We don't know. So that is a little, not a red flag, but I would have loved to see it. We see here that they started the seed sale, the private A and B sale, the IDO token DEX listing, the contract audit, staking was launched in phase 1, and the go live Moonstarter BSC and Ethereum IDOs. So quite a busy phase 1. Phase 2, they made the cross-chain integrations for Polygon, Avalanche, Phantom, Kusama, Polkadot, Solvana, Cardano, and the governance DAO for the Moonstarter decision. So that is where the decentralization comes into play. People that stake on this launchpad will actually be able to participate in the DAO and give their governments their voting to the project. Which of course, if you're not familiar with a DAO, in my opinion, it is how it's supposed to be. It is the decentralization that will allow you as an investor to have basically a right to talk about what projects will be launched, what decisions does the launchpad make, and it is, especially if you're a bigger investor, it is very important to have. So that was introduced in phase 2 together with all the cross-chain integrations. And then in phase 3, the integration of Cosmos and the integration of Tron, and also the integration of community selected blockchains. So throughout phase 2 and 3, apart from the DAO, all that they have worked on has been the cross-chain integrations. And in phase 1, they basically did all of their seed sales, the private sales, and they just launched their first couple of projects and their own token. So again, we don't know the time spans over here. We don't know when everything happened. And again, also, I feel like they may have just started or anything like that, because we're not seeing a lot of progress on the roadmap. It looks like a lot, but all of this are just integrations of other blockchains. So yes, it's progress, but it's not really what we were looking for. Anyways, that is the roadmap and the tiers. Now I'm very excited to get over to the projects. Now, why is that? It is because I have already spotted some big opportunities, and that is why you guys ultimately are here at this video. You want to learn about the opportunities and how to get into these opportunities. So we're going to get started with that right now. So definitely stay tuned, and let's get into this. So the first opportunity, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, of course, is Chirply. Now, Chirply, I have actually done a very in-depth review on the project. You can look at it, it's on the channel. So I've already reviewed the project and I already made my judgment call. It is going to be huge. Now, why is it going to be huge? It is because their idea, their concept has been amazing. It is a platform that helps manage lots of small influencers. Now, why do they do that? It's because big influencers have less engagement with the audience. So instead of getting 1 million subscriber YouTuber, they want to get 1,100 subscriber YouTubers to get more engagement. But to do that, you'll need to actually find these YouTubers and manage them. And Chirply is going to do that. Now, that is just an amazing opportunity. There's not really any good platforms that provide that. And Chirply just looks awesome. I've done an in-depth review on it. Just type in Chirply Digits Club review and you will find it. Look at it if you want to, but I'm super bullish on this particular project, and it's going to be launched on the Moonstarter Launchpad as well. I have also done an in-depth review on Fight Legends. Now, also then, I did point out a couple of red flags, but for the rest, it looked like a very interesting project. This is also, this is an IGO. Chirply is an IDO. So this IGO is a again, it's an interesting one that I personally feel has a lot of potential. Now, when I did my review, there were still a couple of things that they had to really work on, but I already said in my review, with time, it will come right. And again, we're seeing this being launched on the Moonstarter Launchpad. I'm excited. I think this could be a very big opportunity. Again, the gaming industry is booming. IDOs do relatively well. So, but it's not the only one. We also have PlaysApp. Colin Digits did a very in-depth review on this one. Again, very bullish on this. Looking very good. Could easily harvest a lot of profits for you guys. It's on the Polygon chain, which is bullish in and of itself. So this is already 3 IDOs and IGOs that I am incredibly bullish about, that I think can give you guys a lot of profits, and where I personally am looking to get that allocation for. Well, maybe not that much for Fight Legends, although it does have potential, but mainly for PlaysApp and Chirply, definitely interesting. Let's also look at the sheer amount of upcoming projects that they have. Chirply is going to start in 6 days. Glory Planet, PlaysApp, and Fight Legends are to be announced, but these are all upcoming projects in the bear market. So that is a lot of projects, and it's a lot of high quality projects, which is already my 3rd green flag, right? I've covered so many launchpads that don't have any launches upcoming or don't have any good launches, and I see a lot of potential in this, and I see a lot of it to begin with, like a lot of projects. So that is good. They've also done a lot of projects already, some quite recently, others, well, almost years ago. Look at this, this was more than a year ago. Of course, they did their own launch, the Moonstarter, but also Pokeplay, Creator. Let's see any ones we might know. Largely not very known projects over here at the beginning. We do see Universe Island, which was quite hype back in the day. And let's see what else. Meta Run, so that's, I believe, a move to earn type of project. Wrath of the Conquistadors, Hegemonies, never heard of that. Nomad Exiles, okay. And here they did the Fight Legends, I believe the private round that must have been. Outlanders, we do know that one. And Movin'. And then now, the launchpad is growing a bit bigger. They're getting some higher tier IDOs, such as PlaysApp and Chirply. So looking good overall. Definitely seeing improvements in the quality of their projects, and overall thus far I'm very bullish on the projects, on the tier system as well, and also of course on the roadmap and how everything is looking. The UI is just flowing, it's very nice, and I enjoy just looking at it. It's pleasing to the eye, which is actually very important. So yeah, thus far very bullish. Let's actually now dive into the Litepaper, because no, actually, first the staking, then the Litepaper. It's more important than you might think. Like, thus now we're very bullish, but if we dive a little bit deeper, we might find certain things that will change our mind. So it's important to look at everything when reviewing a project. So of course, to get started, you're going to have to do your staking. Once you found the tier that you would like to participate in, you should buy some of the tokens. Now let's see on what exchanges they can be found. I believe that should be somewhere over here. Let's see, exchanges, markets. There we go. So you can buy it on KuCoin, PancakeSwap, or a late token. Most of the volume is over at KuCoin. So that is probably where it is best to be done. And yeah, so that's where you get your tokens. Once you have your tokens, you go over here to the staking tab. It is in the app. You will have your all of the tiers laid out for you. Very simple, very basic. Type in the amount that you would like to stake, let's say 5,000, agree, and then approve. Of course, I don't have any tokens in my balance, so I will not be able to stake it, but stake the amount that you need for the tier that you want. And of course, when staking, you will also get rewards. So that is as simple as it is. It should then change the tier that you are in and the validated staking amount. You will then be able to get Cosmos bonus or initialize a cooldown. But of course, again, we don't have anything staked. All right, so that's all for the staking. We do have INO as well, but all of it is still upcoming. They do have some ended projects over here. These are all from the Fights of Ages. All right, and that is just about it. We do have an account page as well, but again, that's only interesting if you already have your tokens. You can go over here to PancakeSwap right away to buy your tokens. Very simple, very easy. All right. simple enough. Let's move over to the Litepaper. I'm very excited to dig into this. It's quite a big one actually. And yeah, I feel like we can get any other additional information that we still need from this Litepaper to really truly make up our mind. Is this where we want to get into, or do we not want to get into Moonstarter? So, introduction. Let's see, Moonstarter's mission is to be the single-stop multi-chain launchpad for selected projects without distinction of the blockchain used. Now again, I already said right off the bat that this was a positive for me. I'm always looking for cross-chain. That is nowadays just something that is a little bit of a must for me. While the current project landscape is scattered and dependent on the blockchain used, Moonstarter will offer the possibility to launch on multiple selected blockchains, right? So this is absolutely their main USP, being a cross-chain launchpad. In an ideal world, blockchain should be trustful, but Moonstarter will have due diligence process on every single selected project, as it is not always the case with other launchpads. It will communicate with transparency to the potential participants, right? So here we are mostly talking about the DAO and transparency. Now, a lot of launchpads have this, especially in their Litepapers, but it's not always really in practice the case. Now, we have been seeing some comments over here at CoinMarketCap that the team has been censoring people from the community. Now, whether this is true or not, I don't really know, but what I do know is everyone put this in the Litepaper, so we do really have to dive later in the video down onto the social media to see if this is actually the case, but for now, that is what they put on the Litepaper. Okay, the Moonstarter will not limit itself to a launchpad, and to a second extent will develop an ecosystem offering support options to projects such as incubation and marketing. Now, again, this is not uncommon whatsoever. Almost every single launchpad offers this, and the reason being is that it helps secure the project's success. A bit of a tongue twister there. So if a launchpad actually helps with the marketing, with the incubation, with just advice overall, it just stimulates the project and increases the chances of returns for its users. So whenever I see that a launchpad is also an incubator, it is always a good thing, right? It helps build trust between the launchpad and the project. So it's good. It's not really a USP. They do market it as such. It is in their introduction. I mean, what we're seeing, there are 3 USPs, right? They do incubation, right? They're building an ecosystem. They do transparency with the DAO, community governance, and they are cross-chain. That are the 3 things, the 3 pillars that Moonstarter Launchpad builds upon. Here they talk more about the multi-chain IDO launchpad. What do we mean by multi-chain? I mean, we all understand this, right? Launches on multiple chains. Then the Moonstarter token has a selected Binance Smart Chain BSC to launch its token, since Binance Smart Chain has demonstrated that it is arguably one of the most efficient blockchains. I cannot disagree with that. In a nutshell, the selection has been made on 3 points. Transaction prices, transaction speed, and interruptibility. The token utility is as followed: access to the IDOs proposed on the platform, right? So the participating in the launches, and the government. Okay, so there really only seems to be 3 basic utilities to the token: participating in the projects, the DAO governance, and the staking. And I haven't heard anything about farming or anything like that, so it does look like that will be all of the utility that the token will hold, as for right now at least, which is absolutely fine. It's already quite some utility. They do have here, now this is interesting, this is more on the tier path. They talk about the ticket system. The system is based on the Jupiter rocket tickets, representing your guaranteed allocation, and will be implemented as followed. And these are just the tiers listed down again. What I said earlier over here, get a minimum of 37 tickets and 1 additional ticket per additional 10,000 MNST that is staked. So again, the sky is the limit with this launchpad. You could potentially just keep staking and get more tickets, which is a bigger allocation. The competition path, the new path to get a spot for the IDO will be required to hold at least 1,000 MNST, a minimum of 3 days until 24 hours before IDO. So I suppose, okay, and then, all right, so this is basically the social task path. So you will be able to participate without a tier if you have at least 1,000 tokens staked and you have staked it 3 days before the IDO and you completed the Gleam tasks, which are just social tasks, right? Follow on Twitter, follow on Telegram, yada yada, retweet. So that is fair enough. I mean, 1,000 of this token, I mean, how much really is that? Times 1,000, that is just $7. So yeah, understandable that you would have to do social tasks, because $7 relatively is, of course, very, very little money. Example with Project Alpha using Moonstarter app for $100,000. So 100 Gleam lottery winners, 100 Callisto stakers, which is the 10,000 tier, 50, 25, and then 10. Total Jupiter rocket tickets. Right, so here are the calculations. It's kind of mandatory to put it onto the white paper, right? How many participants from what tier are there going to be participating? How is the allocation going to be calculated? Not very important for most investors, but you can look at it if you want to look at very, very detailed. Here's an important note. In case of KYC is required by the project using Moonstarter app, this will need to be approved at least 24 hours before IDO. So the KYC is not mandatory on the Launchpad, but it will be per project. So if a project requires KYC, you'll need KYC. If it doesn't, you don't. Whatever the case, you will need to have your KYC done at least 24 hours before IDO. All right. So that is important. Let's see what else. Thus far, by the way, I'm noticing that the Litepaper reads quite nice. The texts are quite short, and thus far, just like the website, it's quite comprehensible and relatively easy to get through, which I like. And it's very beginner friendly overall. So who are the Cosmos stakers? Cosmos stakers are individuals who are staking at least 30 days or 24 hours prior to the IDO is taking place. The advantages of the Cosmos stakers. They will get allocation increased by 20%. For example, a Cosmos staker with 10 Jupiter tickets will be granted with 2 additional tickets, which is 20%. All right, interesting. And exclusive IDOs and private sales. Cosmos stakers will be granted access to IDOs with very limited allocations and private sales, which will be held on the Moonstarter app. Okay, I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, you're going to want to stake for more than 30 days regardless. 30 days is not a lot, 60 days not a lot either. So when I stake, I never stake for less than 30 days, mostly because all of these bonuses, I mean, you just want to be able to participate in the private sales. 20% increase in allocation is huge. And of course, the returns on your staking will also increase. So yeah, that is just something I would always recommend personally. And also Moonstarter really wants you to do that too, as they show over there. User experience, okay. Apply for an IDO. Yeah, so this is all very basic, right? This is how you participate in an IDO. Right? Stake your tokens, find the IDO you want to participate in, complete KYC if needed, and then get started. Okay, this is all quite basic. A Moonstarter business model is based on a bottom remuneration, it's a difficult word, from the fees held on the amounts raised by the project. On top of this, optional services will be invoiced to the projects, including but will not be limited to marketing consulting, community growth, operational consulting, and technical consulting. All right. Now, that has all been it for the white paper. Now we can dive into the tokenomics of this project, which is, of course, incredibly interesting and very important to look at if we want to get serious about Moonstarter. So this token sale, I like how they did it both visually in a graph, but also with a just a text bar. So we're seeing the seed very cheap price, 0.08. It's actually below seed price right now, which is interesting. Total raised is 250,000. Very, very normal thus far. Private A and Private B, so there's been 2 private rounds. One for a cheaper price, one for a more expensive price. Private rounds obviously together raising by far the most. Then the IDO raising only 70,000 with a very high price. It is now nearly twice as low as it was over there at the IDO, TGE. My lord. All right. And here we have the token distribution. Let's see. We see here the liquidity and 7.1%. Interesting. Usually in tokenomics, you round up the percentages, but they have not done that. R&D 12%, advisors getting only 4.1%, marketing 12.5%, team with a very shy 12%, and the IDO getting 2.5%. Here we have the vesting schedule. Let's see here. So, okay, the team has a 6-month lock. That's good to see. Of course, always, that's the first thing I look at. Does the team give themselves TGE? If they give themselves TGE, that is very scammy. All right, so that would be very bad. This team does not give themselves unlocks at TGE, which is good. They do have a 6-month lock. Oh, man, I have to like use the bar to see it. Very annoying. Then a monthly unlock over 6 months. Okay, yeah, fair enough. What else do we have here? A seed will have a 15% unlock at TGE. Man, it's very difficult to read with this bar. 15% unlock at TGE, then a monthly unlock over 6 months. Private will have a 20% unlock, 20% for TGE for the private rounds. That is actually quite a lot. As you can see here at TGE, it went all the way up to 12 cents. Meaning that if you participated in the private round, you bought the tokens for, what was it, 10 cents. So you will have made more than a 2x with 20% of your tokens. After that, however, a lock for 5 months. So they will not have gotten any tokens all the way until, wait, let's see, this is 6. So we're looking to 11. Yeah. So this is when the unlock stopped. Big price boom. Here they got already a bunch of their tokens again. So they made very big profits twice. And then here again. So most people who participated in the launch made good profits. Public is only getting 25%, but was able to stake right away. So they were also able to stake over here. So yeah. Public didn't make that much profit, but the seed and the private rounds did pretty well. Alright, so that is all for the Litepaper. Let's now take a look at the token, the holders, and the community sentiment on the social media. So again, we've already looked at the price. The TGE went quite well. After that, it had not 1, not 2, but 3 spikes. One over here at the all-time high, and then another one over here. Technically, it had another small spike up here. But after that, it just kept going down. Of course, with the bearish market, the sentiment over on CoinMarketCap is quite bullish. We do have some complaints, but you always have those. Overall, quite a bullish sentiment. If we look at the BSC scan, we can see that more than 4,500 addresses are holding this token, which is actually quite a lot, indicating that this is not a super small launchpad. The transfers are at 154,000. Looking at the holders, we can see that most of the tokens are held by this contract. Not sure what kind of contract this is, but it's holding 32% of all the tokens. Here we see an independent wallet, 2 of them, holding 12 and 9%, which is both much more than $100,000. Then we have a bunch more contracts over here, PancakeSwap, for instance. And here we are getting to the actual real investors, the big investors, all holding around $10,000 to $20,000. Moving down, however, we can see that the majority of investors are only holding a couple $100. As you can see here, we're at 150, and people are holding $150 to $90 overall. So we can definitely see that apart from a bunch of whales and a bunch of big investors, for the rest, most of the holders are small holders. This is all tier 1. Right, tier 1 was about $70 or something like that. So these are all tier 1s. So overall, most of the investors seem to be small investors going for tier 1. But you do have some big whales that, of course, are making use of the fact that you will get an extra ticket per 10,000 extra that you have staked. So, okay, that is that. Then as for the transfers, we can see that the transfers happen quite frequently, definitely a couple times a day. The quantities are quite low. There's not any big amounts being transferred here, an insane amount, small amount. So I haven't detected any very big transfers, maybe this one over here, but that is just about it. So yeah, that is all for the BSC scan, really. Moving over to the Twitter, we can see that they have nearly 100,000 followers, which makes sense as one of their tiers is actually a social task gleam tier. So a lot of these followers are just people that wanted to participate for free or for very little money, and they followed the Launchpad. Overall, they do a lot of announcements. Again, here the announcement with Sherply, where I was very bullish on. You can see that they had a lot of traction, this particular tweet. So yeah, people are bullish, and again, I'm bullish too on this particular one. I mean, we're talking about Sherply. It's a very good IDO, and yeah, I would hype that up as well. It's gonna launch on the 16th of August. At the time of recording, it's the 10th of August. So interesting opportunity for sure. Overall, they do a lot of retweets, but they do post at least once or twice a week. Here they have announcements mostly on their Twitter. So here they announce Movin'. They make other announcements as well. They share blogs, community protection shield. Quite a lot of interaction on their social media actually. Quite some likes, and an overall very, very bullish sentiment on the people over on the Twitter. So yeah, mostly just updates overall. So it's not very interesting. We're not going to dive too deep into it. But what is most important to see is that over on the Twitter and over on the CoinMarketCap, we are seeing bullish sentiment. We're seeing activity coming from the team, which is very important. And of course, frequent and active posting. They also do have a Medium where you can read all sorts of articles. I have read some of the articles. They're quite high quality. You will be able to, again, read up on updates, new launches, but also some tutorials. They post quite frequently, at least once a month or twice a month, which is more active than other mediums. They also have an increased amount of followers here, 66,000, which is actually a lot. And you can see that they're not being read that much. This one has only one like, so they're not being read that much. I assume that this is part of the Gleam competition as well, to follow them on their Medium. Anyways, you guys, I think that was just about it for the Moonstarter Launchpad. We can see that sometimes, look at this is a bit slow. But for the most part, you know, overall, what do I think of the project? How did I like it? Again, I'm very bullish on this project. I think it has a lot of potential. We have been seeing a lot of holders, very positive community sentiment. We are seeing very bullish projects and a lot of projects. The Litepaper was good. It is cross-chain, and overall, it has already done some pretty interesting launches. The interface is very good, and the barrier of entry is quite low, as the first tier is quite cheap. There's also social tasks for people that don't have that much money that will be able to participate as well. Again, mostly bullish on Sherply, and the rest of the projects, we're going to have to wait and see how that turns out. And yeah, overall, again, very bullish. I'm curious to know what you guys think of it, so let me know in the comments below. And with that out of the way, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget the like, and I will see you all in the next one. All right, ciao, ciao.